Priest.
Priest.
Priest. Priest would be the head figure in a, I think, Catholic church specifically. I don't think that any other churches refer to their pastors as a priest.
Yeah, probably.
What is the difference between Catholics and Christians? In face-to-face conversations with Catholics, we have literally heard, "I am not a Christian, I am a Catholic." To many Catholics, the term Christian and Protestant are synonymous. A key distinction between Catholics and Christians is the view of the Bible. Catholics view the Bible as having equal authority with the church and tradition. Christians view the Bible as the supreme authority for faith and practice. The question is, how does the Bible represent itself?
Is that any other
small religious leader?
And sometimes I heard other name, like for priests, do they have another name?
Pastor, minister.
Pastor.
Yeah, pastor.
So that just depends on
Pastor. Pastor.
In the umbrella of Christianity, everybody calls their priest something else.
To me, like a pastor.
No, it's the same thing. Like
they're all the same.
To me, priesthood, because I think in a lot of Catholic denominations now, a pastor doesn't really have to go through a lot to become a pastor.
Oh, but a priest has to go through a bunch of different steps.
Yeah, like there's a very much a formality that goes along. I mean, you go to a school for, I want to say it's like 6 years.
Yeah, that's where they learn how to touch the little boys, right?
And but a pastor to me is just kind of a lecturer. Like they're very passionate about the Bible, and so they're like, I mean, I don't need a church.
A religious lecturer.
To me, is more of a pastor or a minister. I think a priest, there's just a formality to it, which is kind of what he got to with like a priestess of a...
Like a high priestess. Yeah.
Always in the Catholic faith. I've never heard priest refer to anything but a Catholic.
Yeah, but I've heard pastor or minister for other Christian branches, denominations of Christianity.
Yeah. Like, you would probably say like a Baptist minister. You wouldn't say a Baptist priest. You would...
yeah, that's kind of the tricky thing about this, whereas I think priest is very specific to Catholicism, but being a head figure in a church applies to all Christians.
I mean, I was raised Catholic and don't know the difference between a priest, a minister, a deacon.
I couldn't tell you either.
To me, I'm like they're all.
But what about like if you were looking at history and stuff, you would have like a head priestess to a temple.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It's a word for just the religious leader of a group.
Religious leader, I think, is the best I think that's the definition of it. The connotation that we know of is generally like the head of a Catholic congregation.
Yeah. You're right. On its most basic form, it's a religious figure, a head religious figure.
The Pope, the Pope is the overarching in charge of all Catholics, but each church has its own head priest. Right?
Yeah. So the Pope is leading all the priests?
The Pope is leading all the cardinals. The cardinals lead all the bishops, and the bishops lead all the deacons.
Deacons are below a priest.
There's a chain of command, basically.
But yeah, a priest is just a head of an individual place, an individual religious institution.
Let's say you want to become Pope, head of the Catholic Church, and shepherd to over 1 billion faithful. What requirements must you have for this lofty position? First, be a Catholic, and second, be a man. Which seems a little thin, and while it's technically possible for a regular Sunday Catholic to become Pope, the last time this happened was essentially never, because becoming Pope isn't like becoming president. You can't just run for office. Selecting the Pope is an inside job, and the men who do it are the cardinals, and while in theory they can select any Catholic man to become Pope, in practice they prefer to elevate one of their own. The last time a non-cardinal became Pope was more than 600 years ago, so while it isn't an official requirement, it's an unofficial requirement. Thus, in order to become Pope, you'll first need to be a cardinal, and to do that, you need to start climbing the Catholic corporate ladder. Step 1. Become a priest. Unlike some churches where you can just fill out a form online and poof, ordained, the Catholic Church treats becoming a priest as a real, you-need-training profession, so you're going to require a lot of education, usually a college degree in Catholic philosophy and then a master's in divinity. In addition to your educational qualifications, you must also be a man, unmarried, and willing to remain celibate. If you meet these requirements and have been working with the church, then you can be officially ordained as a priest, which basically means you get to run a Catholic church or work with another priest who does. But you want to move onward, and to do that, you need to take the job of the man who just made you a priest.
Is that all the church running by government here?
No.
Church is not
In fact,
recognized
there's
government.
actually a thing that stipulates that the
Oh, it's
church
separate.
and the
Separation
government must be
of
separate.
church and state.
So it's separate.
Yeah,
Mhm.
completely separate.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, in the time of kings and queens in Europe, the church had more power because the church in Rome had its own army, and so they had these priests and cardinals in each country that could kind of control and
Yeah.
be like ambassadors for the church.
Yeah.
Now it's not like that.
Yeah.
Is that
Prejudice?
Prejudice?
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
I think it depends where you are, because I grew up here in Dallas and didn't feel like I saw any of it. But I know in smaller places, smaller towns, it
Like
definitely.
Oh, I just
Christianity is
think
better.
that
Yes. Yeah, there's definitely, like, I
Israel, the Israelites and the Palestinians.
Yeah. No, I had a bunch of friends who were from, like, Pakistan, so they're Muslim, and they came to Dallas and they worship Islam, and
Yeah, unfortunately, after 9/11, the
yeah,
US
there were a lot of people who definitely went and protested their mosque. Mosque is the word, yeah.
Yeah.
They sort of went there and were like, hey, stop being Muslim. And they were like, oh, we can't, sorry.
Yeah. And so,
So
people
there
just started
is-
showing
yeah.
prejudice towards Muslim people just because they associated terrorism with
the
Muslim
religion.
ignorantly, I should add. But, I mean,
Yeah.
well, I guess that's a lot of what prejudice is just ignorance.
That's a good
Well
way to
said.
describe prejudice.
Well said.